The Ultimatum. The Galactic Council was a powerful alliance of many alien species. They controlled vast regions of space, and their influence reached every corner of the galaxy. They saw themselves as the guardians of peace and order, but they also believed in their superiority over other races. For centuries, they had ruled without challenge. But now they faced a new problem. Earth. On a warm afternoon, the leaders of the Galactic Council gathered in their grand meeting chamber, a vast room filled with holographic displays and futuristic technology. The air buzzed with tension as representatives from various planets argued about the human race. They had been observing Earth for years, and the Council had grown increasingly concerned about humanity's rapid advancements in technology and space travel. "Humans are reckless," stated a tall, blue-skinned alien named Sci-Fi, whose race was known for their analytical minds. "They believe they can stand against us. We must show them their place." "I agree," added a short, green-skinned delegate from a nearby star system. "Their actions threaten the stability of the galaxy. It is time to send a clear message." After much debate, the Council decided to issue an ultimatum. They would demand Earth's surrender. If humanity refused, the consequences would be severe. They believed this would bring the humans to their knees, as it had with other civilizations. A holographic message was prepared, detailing their demands. The message would be sent directly to Earth. The Council believed that if they showcased their power, humanity would be too afraid to resist. Meanwhile, on Earth, the leaders gathered in a large conference room. A screen displayed the Council's message in bold letters: "Surrender or face annihilation." The room fell silent as the ultimatum sank in. President Davis, a middle-aged man with a stern face, stood at the head of the table. His expression was grave as he read the message aloud. "They think we will just give up," he said, his voice steady but filled with disbelief. "They think they can intimidate us." "President Davis, they are powerful," said General Thompson, a tough-looking woman with years of experience. "We have to consider our options carefully. If we refuse, they will attack, and we might not be able to defend ourselves." The room erupted into a heated discussion. Some believed it was wise to negotiate, while others insisted on fighting. Scientists pointed out that their technology was still behind the Council's advanced systems. They were not ready for a war against such a powerful foe. But President Davis shook his head, refusing to accept defeat. "We have fought for our freedom throughout history," he said, looking around the room. "We will not bow down to anyone, even to the Galactic Council. We must show them that humanity will not be intimidated." His words ignited a fire in the room. The leaders exchanged glances, and the mood shifted. They were beginning to feel that same resolve, that spirit of defiance that had defined humanity for generations. They might not have the same level of technology, but they had something else: determination. As discussions continued, scientists and engineers began brainstorming ways to prepare for possible conflict. They knew that they could not match the Council's ships and weapons in a head-on battle, but they had a plan. Humanity was known for its creativity, and it was time to think outside the box. Days passed, and Earth's leaders worked tirelessly. News of the Galactic Council's ultimatum spread, igniting a fire in the hearts of people around the world. Protests erupted in the streets, with citizens rallying against the Council's demands. Signs reading, "We will not surrender," and "Stand united," filled the air as voices of defiance rose across the globe. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the atmosphere was one of smug confidence. They believed they had succeeded in intimidating the humans. However, they did not know that their ultimatum had awakened something powerful within humanity. On Earth, military forces began their preparations. Engineers worked day and night, retrofitting older missile systems and developing new technologies. The message was clear: humanity would not bow down easily. They were ready to defend their home. As the deadline for the Council's ultimatum approached, the atmosphere grew tense. The world held its breath, waiting for the Council's next move. In the halls of power, there was uncertainty mixed with resolve. Humanity was on the brink of a conflict they had not sought, but they would not be cowed. As night fell on Earth, President Davis stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The lights shimmered below, a sea of hope and defiance. He thought of the sacrifices made by those before him, the battles fought for freedom. He whispered to himself, "We are not alone. We will fight for our future." In the Galactic Council chamber, the aliens prepared for what they believed would be an easy victory. But unbeknownst to them, humanity was ready to rise. The tide was turning, and the Galactic Council was about to learn a lesson they would never forget. Humans were not to be underestimated. With hearts full of determination, humanity prepared to respond. They would not surrender. Instead, they would stand and fight. The Galactic Council had issued their ultimatum, but humanity had its answer. They were ready for war. The response. The Galactic Council sat in their grand chamber, awaiting the response from Earth. They were confident that their ultimatum would have the desired effect. For centuries, they had maintained peace by instilling fear in lesser civilizations. But humanity was proving to be a different challenge. The Council expected a hasty surrender, yet time ticked on without a word from Earth. Meanwhile, on Earth, President Davis and his team worked tirelessly to formulate a response. The conference room was filled with maps, data screens, and models of ships and weapons. As ideas flowed, the mood shifted from fear to determination. General Thompson had gathered the brightest minds in military strategy and technology to devise a plan that would send a clear message to the Council. "We need to show them that we're not afraid," Thompson stated, her eyes fierce. "We need to strike first, but it must be a show of strength, not an act of desperation." "Agreed," replied Dr. Helen Rivera, a leading scientist. "We can develop an enhanced missile system that combines our existing technology with some experimental components we've been working on. If we can amplify our firepower, it will send a strong signal." The team quickly got to work, combining their expertise in engineering, physics, and military tactics. They spent sleepless nights testing prototypes and perfecting their designs. As the deadline for the Council's ultimatum approached, excitement and anxiety filled the air. The engineers worked to create missiles that could penetrate the Council's advanced shields, while the military strategists prepared the logistics of the operation. Across the world, news of the Galactic Council's ultimatum fueled public sentiment. Citizens rallied behind their leaders, demonstrating unity and strength. Protests transformed into solidarity marches as people filled the streets with banners that read, "We stand together," and "Freedom is our right." As the countdown to the ultimatum's expiration began, President Davis took to the airwaves to address the people of Earth. He stood at a podium surrounded by military leaders and scientists, ready to deliver a message that would resonate throughout the planet. "My fellow humans," he began, his voice steady and resolute. "The Galactic Council has issued an ultimatum demanding our surrender. They believe we will bow to their might, but they do not understand us. We are a species forged in the fires of conflict, driven by the desire for freedom. We will not be silenced." The crowd erupted in cheers, their spirits lifted by his words. "We are preparing a response, a show of strength that will echo throughout the galaxy. We will not cower in fear. We will stand and fight. Together, we will protect our home and our way of life." As the applause roared, a sense of unity swept over the planet. People were no longer just individuals. They were a collective force, determined to stand against oppression. President Davis felt a surge of pride as he looked out at the crowd. He knew that the coming days would be challenging, but they would face it together. The time had come to execute their plan. With the enhanced missiles ready and a strategy in place, the military prepared for deployment. Earth's defense forces took to the skies, ready to launch their response to the Galactic Council's demand. The ships were armed and loaded with the new missile systems, each one a testament to humanity's ingenuity. As the clock ticked down, a fleet of ships gathered in the Earth's orbit, ready for the signal. The mood among the crew was a mix of anxiety and anticipation. They were about to make history. At the Galactic Council headquarters, the atmosphere remained calm. The representatives were confident that the humans would comply. Zelfar, the analytical alien, leaned back in his chair, his arms crossed. They are foolish to resist. They will soon learn their place. However, as the final seconds of the ultimatum approached, a message flickered on the holographic display in the council chamber. It was a transmission from Earth. The council members turned their attention to the screen, and the mood shifted from arrogance to confusion. "This is President Davis of Earth," the message began, his voice steady. "We have received your ultimatum, and we refuse to comply. Instead of surrendering, we have prepared a demonstration of our resolve. We will not be cowed by your threats." As the council listened, the atmosphere in the chamber turned tense. Davis continued, "We are launching our response now. Prepare yourselves for what humanity is capable of." With those words, the missiles, enhanced with the latest technology, were launched from Earth. They streaked through space, illuminating the dark void with bright trails of light. The Galactic Council's sensors detected the incoming barrage, and panic rippled through the chamber. "Prepare for impact," shouted Zelfar, but it was too late. The missiles, designed to penetrate the Council's defenses, struck with precision. The explosion illuminated the Council's flagship, sending shockwaves through the fleet. The Council members stared in disbelief. They had underestimated humanity's resolve and ingenuity. As the missiles continued to strike, a fierce sense of alarm filled the room. The Galactic Council had never encountered such resistance from a lesser species before. Back on Earth, cheers erupted as people witnessed the successful launch. President Davis knew that this was just the beginning, but it was a crucial first step. Humanity had stood up against the Galactic Council, and they had sent a powerful message. They were not afraid to fight for their freedom. The response had been delivered, and now it was time to prepare for what lay ahead. The battle for Earth had just begun. The aftermath. The atmosphere on Earth was electric after the missile barrage. People gathered in squares, parks, and homes, watching news broadcasts and discussing the unprecedented event. President Davis's bold move had ignited a fire within humanity, and hope surged through the hearts of many. But as the excitement built, a darker reality loomed. In the Galactic Council chamber, panic reigned. The council members were scrambling to assess the damage. Zelfar, the analytical representative, had underestimated the humans. He stood in front of a large display screen showing the devastation inflicted on their flagship. "We must respond immediately. This level of aggression cannot go unanswered," he declared, his voice laced with urgency. Another council member, Alara, known for her more diplomatic approach, argued, "We should consider our options carefully. We cannot afford to underestimate their resolve again. This could lead to a war we are not prepared for." But the majority were consumed by anger and fear. The Council had prided itself on its control over the galaxy, and now a small planet had dared to challenge their authority. "We must crush this rebellion swiftly," insisted Vorthan, a militaristic leader who had always favored aggression. "Show them that resistance is futile." The Council's decision was swift. They ordered a counterattack, mobilizing their fleet to the edge of Earth's solar system. Massive ships, equipped with advanced technology and weaponry, prepared to engage. The message was clear. The Galactic Council would not allow humanity to defy them without consequence. Meanwhile, on Earth, President Davis and his team were in a war room, analyzing the data coming in from their sensors. General Thompson paced back and forth, looking at the displays showing the Council's fleet mobilizing. "We need to fortify our defenses. They will come for us with everything they have." Dr. Rivera was busy updating the missile systems, ensuring they were prepared for the next wave of attacks. "We need to improve our shielding technology and increase our missile range. We can't just rely on what we have," she stated. The tension in the room was palpable as they prepared for what was sure to be a monumental clash. As the Council's ships entered the solar system, humanity braced itself for impact. News outlets reported live updates, showing images of the approaching fleet. The public's mood shifted from excitement to apprehension, yet there was an underlying current of defiance. "We won't back down," people shouted in the streets. "Earth stands united." The Galactic Council, now in striking distance, initiated their first attack. Powerful beams of energy shot toward Earth, striking satellites and space stations, causing widespread chaos in orbit. The bright flashes illuminated the night sky, creating a surreal backdrop against the terror unfolding. Back on the ground, Davis and his team watched in horror as the attacks continued. "We need to launch our counteroffensive now," Thompson urged. "If we wait too long, we may lose our chance." "Prepare the fleet," Davis commanded, his voice firm despite the rising tension. "We need to show them we can fight back, not just defend. Our people need to see that we are capable of taking the fight to them." Earth's defense fleet quickly mobilized, ships armed and ready to engage. Humanity had learned from the Council's attack. They had modified their vessels, reinforcing their shields and improving their weapon systems. The command center buzzed with activity as crews scrambled to their stations. As the fleets met in the vastness of space, the sky erupted with explosions and beams of energy. Earth's ships moved with newfound resolve, maneuvering around the Council's fire with agility and precision. Each vessel carried the hopes of billions, fighting not just for survival, but for their right to exist freely. In the heat of battle, the atmosphere aboard the human ships was tense but focused. Crew members shouted commands, and the sounds of alarms filled the air. The thrill of combat sparked something deep within each pilot and soldier. They were fighting for their home, their families, and their future. The clash of humanity against the Galactic Council unfolded like a grand spectacle, with each side determined to claim victory. Human ships darted through enemy lines, launching missiles that struck true, inflicting damage on the enemy fleet. The Council's ships, though technologically superior, were caught off guard by humanity's unexpected tactics and fierce resolve. As the battle raged on, Sci-Fi, aboard the Council flagship, struggled to regain control of the situation. "Their tactics are unpredictable," he exclaimed, frustration evident in his voice. "We must adapt our strategy if we hope to prevail." Alara observed the fight from the tactical display. "They fight with a fervor we did not anticipate. This is more than just a battle. It is a fight for their very existence. If we do not change our approach, we may lose more than just this skirmish." On Earth, news channels broadcasted the conflict live. Citizens watched with bated breath, holding their loved ones close as they saw their ships take flight against the towering alien fleet. As one ship was hit, gasps echoed throughout homes, followed by shouts of encouragement as another ship scored a hit on the Council. Despite the chaos, a sense of unity enveloped the planet. Humanity was not just fighting against the Galactic Council, they were fighting for each other, their values, and their very identity. The battle marked a turning point. It became clear that the war was not just a conflict of arms, but a battle of wills. As the day turned to night, the struggle continued, but humanity had shown the Galactic Council that they were not easily defeated. Each explosion, each victory, fueled their determination. They would not surrender. They would fight until the last breath. The aftermath of this battle would define the future of Earth and its people. With courage in their hearts, humanity stood ready to face whatever came next. They had sparked a rebellion that would echo through the galaxy, proving once and for all that they would not be pushed around. They were a force to be reckoned with, and they were just getting started. The turning tide. The battle raged on, and the vacuum of space was filled with the sounds of destruction. Bright flashes of light illuminated the darkness as missiles streaked across the void, meeting their targets with devastating force. Humanity's response had been fierce and unexpected, and the Galactic Council was beginning to feel the weight of their underestimation. On the bridge of the human flagship, the U.S. Resolute, President Davis watched the tactical displays with a determined expression. "We need to push forward. If we can disrupt their command ships, we can turn this battle in our favor," he ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos outside. General Thompson nodded, rallying his crew. All ships, follow the Resolute. Target their command vessels. We can't let them regroup. The crew moved with precision, fueled by the adrenaline of battle and the desire to protect their home. As the human ships advanced, they encountered fierce resistance. The Galactic Council's vessels were formidable, but the human fleet had learned to adapt quickly. They employed unconventional tactics, using their smaller ships to dart in and out of the larger vessels, creating confusion among the enemy ranks. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council's flagship, Selthar struggled to regain control of the situation. We must consolidate our forces. Focus fire on the human flagship, he shouted, frustration palpable in his voice. Alara, however, looked at the displays with concern. Zelfar, if we concentrate too much firepower on one target, we risk losing sight of the others. They're exploiting our formation. With Alara's warning ringing in his ears, Selthar reluctantly ordered his fleet to adjust their strategy. They needed to outsmart the humans, not just overpower them. Reform the lines. We will use our long-range weapons to pin them down. As the Council's ships adjusted their formation, the battle became even more chaotic. Human pilots, now emboldened by their initial successes, pressed forward with renewed vigor. They maneuvered around enemy fire, their ships darting and weaving like predators hunting their prey. The tide began to turn as humanity's fighters executed a well-timed flanking maneuver. The human fleet, using their knowledge of the battlefield, struck hard against the command vessels of the Galactic Council. Missiles exploded against hulls, sending debris scattering into the void. On the ground, people watched the battle unfold on their screens. Streets filled with crowds cheering as news anchors reported the latest updates. The human fleet is pushing back. They've inflicted heavy damage on the Galactic Council. The anchor exclaimed, igniting cheers and shouts of victory. The sense of unity among humanity grew stronger with every report of success. Back in space, President Davis, seeing the tide turning, gave the order for a full offensive. All ships, now is our chance. Let's show them what humanity is capable of. His words echoed through the comms, igniting a fire within the hearts of every crew member. The human ships surged forward, launching another wave of missiles. This time, they were not just defending. They were on the offensive. The Galactic Council ships, now disorganized and on the back foot, struggled to respond. As the human fleet pressed their advantage, they targeted the flagship of the Galactic Council. The Supreme Command, a massive vessel bristling with weapons, was now in their sights. General Thompson coordinated the assault, directing multiple ships to converge on their target. Focus all firepower on that flagship. We have to take it down. The moment of impact was monumental. Missiles hit the Supreme Command with explosive force, sending shockwaves throughout the Council's fleet. Alara watched in horror as her flagship took damage, alarms blaring throughout the ship. We need to retreat. They're overwhelming us, she shouted, trying to rally her fellow council members. But Selthar, driven by pride and anger, refused to back down. No, we must hold our ground. We cannot show weakness, he insisted, even as the damage reports continued to flood in. However, the reality was undeniable. The humans had gained the upper hand, and their determination was unyielding. They fought not just for survival, but for their place in the galaxy. Each human ship carried the hopes and dreams of countless people, a symbol of resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. As the Supreme Command began to falter, humanity seized the opportunity. The tide of battle turned decisively as the Galactic Council found themselves unable to respond effectively to the relentless assault. The Resolute, leading the charge, sent one final wave of missiles toward the flagship, striking a critical point in its defenses. An explosion rocked the Supreme Command, sending pieces of debris spiraling into space. The flagship of the Galactic Council was crippled, and with it, their grip on the battle was lost. "They're falling back," shouted a crew member on the Resolute. "We're doing it." Cheers erupted among the crew as the human fleet pressed their advantage. The Galactic Council ships, now in disarray, began to retreat. For the first time, humanity had proven they could stand against their oppressors and emerge victorious. Back on Earth, the news spread like wildfire. The tide had turned, and humanity had taken a stand. Streets erupted with celebrations as people rejoiced in the victory. They had faced down the Galactic Council and had shown the universe that they would not be defeated. As the Galactic Council retreated, their leaders were left to ponder the consequences of their decisions. They had underestimated humanity's resolve and had ignited a spark that could not be extinguished. The battle was far from over, but humanity had taken the first step toward reclaiming their place in the galaxy. With each victory, the spirit of humanity grew stronger. They had proven they could fight back, and the Galactic Council would now have to reckon with the unyielding determination of Earth. The turning tide marked the beginning of a new chapter in human history, one that would echo through the stars for generations to come. The cost of victory. As the dust settled on the battlefield, the aftermath of the intense conflict began to unfold. The human fleet had emerged victorious, but the cost was heavy. The remnants of the Galactic Council's ships drifted through space, their once mighty vessels now reduced to ruins. Debris floated like gravestones, a stark reminder of the battle that had just transpired. On the bridge of the U.S. Resolute, President Davis surveyed the damage reports flooding in from across the fleet. "We lost too many ships," he said solemnly, his voice heavy with the weight of responsibility. The cheers of victory echoed in the background, but the president felt a deep ache in his heart for the lives lost in the fight for survival. General Thompson stood by his side, looking at the tactical displays. "We fought bravely, Mr. President. Our losses were significant, but we also dealt a heavy blow to the Council. They will think twice before underestimating us again," he replied, trying to maintain a sense of optimism. As the fleet regrouped, a sense of camaraderie blossomed among the surviving crew members. They shared stories of bravery and sacrifice, honoring those who had fought alongside them. The scars of battle remained fresh, but the unity they had forged during the conflict gave them strength. Humanity had shown resilience in the face of adversity, and this victory ignited a flame of hope across the stars. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted in every corner of the globe. People cheered in the streets, waving flags and banners. They had witnessed their heroes stand against a formidable foe, and now they felt a renewed sense of purpose. News channels broadcasted live updates, capturing the joy and relief of millions. Humanity has proven itself on the galactic stage. "We have shown the Council that we will not be bullied," the news anchor declared. But not everyone was celebrating. In the Galactic Council's headquarters, a shadow loomed over the leaders as they processed their staggering defeat. Selthar paced the grand chamber, frustration radiating from him. "How could we have been so blind?" he raged, his fists clenched in anger. "We underestimated them at every turn." Alara, still reeling from the loss, tried to maintain her composure. "Selthar, we must learn from this. We cannot let our pride cloud our judgment. Humanity has shown they can fight back. We need a new strategy, or we risk losing everything," she urged. The leaders of the Galactic Council gathered to discuss their next steps. They knew they needed to regroup and rethink their approach. "We have to break their spirit. If we cannot conquer them with force, we must undermine their morale," suggested one of the advisors, his voice filled with urgency. Back on Earth, President Davis understood the magnitude of what lay ahead. "We've won a battle, but the war is far from over," he said during a press conference, his expression serious. "We must prepare for the possibility of a counterattack. We need to strengthen our defenses and rally our allies." The president's words resonated with the public. People understood that their victory had come at a price, and they were ready to support the effort. Volunteer programs sprang up, with citizens eager to help in any way they could. Some joined the military, while others contributed resources to build better defenses. As humanity prepared for what was to come, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly on new technologies. They knew they had to outsmart the Galactic Council, not just outfight them. Innovations in weaponry, shields, and communications became the focus, with everyone driven by the desire to protect their home. Days turned into weeks as humanity built its strength. The resolve to continue the fight grew deeper, fueled by the stories of those who had sacrificed everything in the battle. Memorials were erected to honor the fallen, and ceremonies took place across the globe. People came together to remember their heroes, and the atmosphere of unity grew stronger. In the shadows of the Galactic Council, fear began to take root. They could no longer dismiss humanity as a simple, primitive race. Their victory had shaken the foundations of the Council's power. "We must act swiftly," Sulfur declared in a tense meeting. "If we allow them to gather their strength, they will become an even greater threat." As the Galactic Council plotted their next move, humanity stood united, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They had tasted victory, and it had only fueled their determination. No longer would they cower in fear. They had proven their strength and resilience. With each passing day, the memories of the battle lingered, shaping the future. Humanity was ready to defend what was rightfully theirs, and the stars would witness their struggle for survival. The Galactic Council had awakened a sleeping giant, and they would soon learn that humanity's spirit could not be easily extinguished. As the Galactic Council gathered forces to retaliate, humanity prepared for the next phase of their fight. The stage was set, and both sides knew that the next confrontation would determine the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. The cost of victory had been high, but the stakes were even higher now. Humanity was ready to show the galaxy that they would fight for their freedom, no matter the cost. The gathering storm. The aftermath of the battle had shaken the Galactic Council to its core. In the following weeks, the Council's leaders deliberated on how to deal with humanity's unexpected strength. Zelthar and Alara spent long hours in heated discussions, trying to forge a new strategy to regain control. "We cannot underestimate them again," Alara warned, her voice steady but urgent. "Humanity is resilient and creative. They have proven that they will fight to protect their home. We need a new approach, one that does not rely solely on brute force." Zelthar paced the chamber, deep in thought. "You're right. We need to find a way to weaken their resolve. Perhaps we can exploit their weaknesses, turn their allies against them. But we must act quickly. They are strengthening their defenses every day." Meanwhile, on Earth, President Davis was rallying the human forces. The victory had emboldened humanity, but the president knew the danger was far from over. He addressed the nation, standing before a sea of eager faces. "We have shown the galaxy our strength, but we must not grow complacent. The Galactic Council will not take this defeat lightly. We need to stand united, stronger than ever before." The president's words ignited a fierce determination within the hearts of the citizens. Communities banded together to support the military, providing resources and assistance. Scientists collaborated on new technologies, engineers worked on enhancing ship designs, and volunteers enlisted in droves. Humanity was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. As the preparations unfolded, whispers of discontent grew among the Galactic Council's ranks. Not all members agreed with Sulfar's aggressive tactics. Some advocated for diplomacy, urging the Council to reconsider their approach. "We could reach out to them, offer terms of peace," one member suggested, his voice trembling with apprehension. "We cannot afford to lose more lives." Zelthar dismissed the idea with a wave of his hand. "Peace? After this humiliation? They will never trust us. We must show them that defiance has consequences." Tensions rose within the Council as factions emerged. Those who supported Sulfar's harsh stance clashed with those who advocated for diplomacy. Meanwhile, Alara found herself caught in the middle. She understood the risks of both paths and sought a way to bridge the divide. "We need to understand their motivations, their desires. Perhaps there is a way to negotiate without appearing weak," she argued, hoping to quell the brewing conflict. Back on Earth, the mood was tense but hopeful. The scientists unveiled their latest innovation, an advanced defensive shield that could withstand powerful blasts. The military celebrated the breakthrough, realizing it would give them a significant advantage in the upcoming battles. "Let's test it in the field," General Thompson ordered, excitement bubbling in his voice. "We need to ensure it works under real conditions." As they prepared for the test, word of humanity's advancements spread throughout the galaxy. The Galactic Council grew increasingly worried. Reports from scouts revealed that Earth was becoming a formidable opponent. They had to act before humanity's innovations could change the tide of war. One fateful day, a meeting was called within the council to discuss their next move. Zelthar stood at the head of the table, his presence commanding. "We will launch a preemptive strike. We will not wait for them to build their forces. We will show them the consequences of their defiance," he declared. Alara's heart sank at the thought of more bloodshed. "Zelthar, there must be another way. We can reach out, open lines of communication. We might find common ground." But the room erupted in arguments. Many members sided with Zelthar, fearing that any sign of weakness would lead to their downfall. "We cannot allow them to become stronger. If we do not act now, we risk losing everything," one leader shouted. As tensions escalated, Alara remained calm. "If we attack, we may drive them further away. A united humanity could be more dangerous than we anticipate," she pressed, but her voice was drowned out by the shouts of her peers. In the midst of the chaos, a young advisor stepped forward, his voice shaky but determined. "What if we propose a temporary truce? We can open negotiations while preparing our defenses. It would show humanity that we are willing to talk. If they refuse, then we can strike without hesitation," he suggested. The room fell silent as Zelthar contemplated the proposal. "A truce," he echoed, his brow furrowed. "It could give them time to prepare, but it might also disarm them, make them think we are weak." Alara seized the opportunity. "It's a risk worth taking. If we can find a way to negotiate, we might avoid further bloodshed. We can also gather intelligence on their plans during this time. If they reject our offer, we will be prepared for whatever comes next." After a long pause, Zelthar nodded reluctantly. "Fine. We will send a message, offering a truce. But know this, if they refuse, we will not hesitate to strike." As the council prepared to send the message, the atmosphere shifted. Uncertainty hung in the air as both sides stood on the brink of confrontation. Humanity had grown strong, but the Galactic Council was determined to regain control. The next move would determine the fate of their worlds. As Earth continued its preparations, President Davis received news of the Council's offer for a truce. He gathered his advisors, contemplating the implications. A truce? It could be a trick, but it might also be an opportunity. He mused, weighing the risks and rewards. His advisors debated the decision, but ultimately, the president knew the time had come to respond. Humanity had shown strength, and now they had to demonstrate wisdom. "We will respond. We will show the Council that humanity seeks peace, but we are prepared for war if needed," he concluded. With the stage set, both humanity and the Galactic Council braced themselves for what lay ahead. The gathering storm threatened to unleash chaos, but in the midst of uncertainty, a glimmer of hope emerged. The future was unwritten, and both sides would soon learn whether peace or war would define their destinies. The final showdown. The tension in the galaxy was palpable. As the message from the Galactic Council reached President Davis, a hush fell over Earth. The Council's offer of a truce came as a surprise, and the President knew the weight of their response would shape the future of humanity. Gathered in the Oval Office, President Davis and his top advisors reviewed the proposal. "We must be cautious," he said, leaning forward in his chair. "This could be a trap, a way for them to regroup and strike when we least expect it. But it could also be our chance to secure peace," one advisor countered. "We have the upper hand after the last battle. If we refuse, they may retaliate in anger." The president considered this. "We need to respond carefully. Let's draft a reply that affirms our willingness to negotiate, but makes it clear that we will not back down if provoked. As the message was sent, anticipation hung heavy in the air. On the other side, the Galactic Council received the response. Alara felt a mix of hope and dread. This could be the moment we've been waiting for, she thought, but the faces around her remained grave. Zelthar stood at the head of the table, eyes narrowed. A show of strength is necessary. We must prepare our forces while maintaining the illusion of diplomacy. If they refuse to come to the table, we will be ready. The Council agreed to send a delegation to Earth for negotiations. However, Alara sensed the unease among her colleagues. This is a chance for peace, she insisted, determined to guide the conversation toward understanding. We must emphasize that we are not their enemies. As the day of the meeting approached, both sides prepared for the encounter. Earth's military fortified its defenses, while the Galactic Council mobilized its fleets, positioning them strategically in orbit around Earth. When the delegation from the Galactic Council arrived, the atmosphere was tense. Representatives from both sides gathered in a neutral zone, a vast chamber designed for high-stakes discussions. President Davis stood at the head of the table, flanked by his advisors, while Zelthar led the council delegation, flanked by Alara and other leaders. "Welcome," President Davis began, his voice steady. "We are here to discuss the future of our worlds." Zelthar nodded, a serious expression on his face. "We extend our olive branch, but know that we are prepared for war if our offer is rejected." The president took a deep breath. "We wish for peace, but we cannot ignore the reality of our past. Your council sought our surrender, and we fought back. If we are to move forward, we must find common ground." Alara stepped forward, her voice calm and measured. "We understand your concerns, and we regret the decisions made by the council. But humanity has shown incredible resilience. Perhaps we can find a way to coexist." As the discussions unfolded, it became clear that both sides had much to gain from cooperation. They spoke of trade agreements, mutual defense pacts, and shared knowledge that could benefit both civilizations. Slowly, the tension began to ease, but deep beneath the surface, mistrust lingered. Then, just as hope began to blossom, a commotion erupted outside the chamber. Alarms blared, and the ground shook. "What's happening?" Davis demanded, looking towards his security team. A young officer rushed in, panic in her eyes. "Sir, our scanners detected an unidentified fleet entering the solar system. They're approaching fast." Zelthar's expression shifted from negotiation to alarm. "We must return to our ships. This could be a hostile force." "No," Alara insisted, grabbing Zelthar's arm. "We need to stand together. We cannot allow a third party to disrupt this meeting." But Zelthar was already moving, barking orders to his guards. "We cannot trust them. Prepare for defense." As chaos erupted, the president knew they had to act swiftly. "We have to get everyone to safety and assess the threat. If this is another Galactic Council fleet, we'll need to be ready." Before anyone could react, a massive shadow loomed over the chamber. A colossal ship appeared in orbit, its weapons systems primed. "They've made it past our defenses," one of the officers shouted, disbelief etched across his face. President Davis turned to Zelthar. "We need to work together. We can't let them see us divided." "Right," Zelthar growled, his eyes narrowing. "But we will not trust you. We will engage with our forces." The room was filled with tension as the two leaders prepared for battle. In that moment, Alara stepped forward again, her voice cutting through the chaos. "We must be united. If we fight amongst ourselves, we will be defeated. Whoever they are, we must be stronger together," Davis added, his voice rising above the noise. "Let's prove to them that humanity and the Galactic Council will not be torn apart by fear." As both leaders shared a glance, an unspoken agreement formed. They would join their forces, set aside their differences for the moment. It was time to show the galaxy what they were capable of when united. They quickly coordinated their defenses. The Earth's ships, armed with the new shields and weaponry, aligned alongside the Council's fleets. In a matter of minutes, they launched a counteroffensive against the approaching enemy. The battle was fierce, with laser fire lighting up the dark expanse of space. Humanity fought with fierce determination, proving their mettle once again. The Galactic Council's advanced ships maneuvered gracefully, combining tactics that surprised their foes. As the dust settled, it became clear, together, they had triumphed. The unidentified fleet retreated, leaving behind only debris. Cheers erupted from both sides, but the victory felt bittersweet. Back on Earth, amidst the celebrations, the two leaders finally had a moment to breathe. "We did it," Davis said, a smile breaking across his face. "But we still have much to discuss." Zelthar nodded, his expression softening. "Yes, but now we understand the importance of unity. We can move forward together." The atmosphere shifted as Alara stepped between them, a spark of hope in her eyes. "This could be the start of a new era. Together, we can forge a path towards lasting peace." With the threat vanquished and alliances forged, the future of both humanity and the Galactic Council glimmered with promise. Together, they stood on the brink of a new dawn, one that would rewrite the history of their worlds and unite them in ways they had never imagined possible.